Gunline, gunline, gunline. Fire mission coming down. I'm your host, Lopez, and you're listening to the On the Gunline podcast, where we shoot shit like we did in the past. So go on and pop a squat because it's about to get hot. You're on the gunline now. So normally today I would have a guest with me. Unfortunately, we did do a recording yesterday, but when we came to the end of the recording, I was going to stop it. Lo and behold, I never started. So go fucking figure. And it was of all the days, the day that I had a commo guy. You would have thought that he would have reminded me, hey, make sure your commos are up. Nope, comms were down. So anyway, I'd like to thank y'all for coming over here and pop a squat with me for just a little while. And basically, normally I would just shoot the shit and talk to people about fucking their background. So I guess I might as well just do that about me, man. Shit. Let y'all know a little bit about myself. Well, my name is Danny Lopez. I was born November 24th, 1977 in the great state of California, Los Angeles. That is USC Medical Center, a.k.a. General Hospital. That's out in East LA. And had a pretty chill fucking working class fucking family. Poor, I guess you could say. But I don't want to say poor because we had what we needed. And, you know, we had a roof over our head and we were your typical fucking Hispanic family from back in the day. You know, a bunch of fucking kids in a small little place. Let's see. I ended up joining the military late as fuck. I was 27 years old. My first day in basic training. It was my birthday. It was November 24th, actually, 2004. And yeah, dude, that was a fucking nightmare there. So how did I end up getting in the military? What ended up happening was I had a brother, Robert, and this is back in the early 80s. He was a Marine. He came from El Salvador and finished high school and joined the Marine Corps. So early in my life, I grew up seeing, you know, the uniform, you know what I mean? And I just fucking wanted to emulate that. Then in 88, my brother Ed, he ended up joining the Marine Corps and he became a DAT. And if you don't know what that is, a dumbass tanker. So he was a tanker in the Marine Corps and I was in junior high during that time. So what ended up happening, the Gulf War kicked off, right? And during the Gulf War, you know, he went over there and he was involved in that major tank battle, liberation of Kuwait and all that bullshit. And like I would write to him, you know, while he was over there and he would write back and he sent me pictures of like, you know, the burnt Iraqi bodies and shit. And that just pumped me up to be in the fucking Marine Corps. That's what I wanted to do. So made a couple of bad decisions in my youth. Hung out with the wrong crowd, I guess you could say, but to me it was the right crowd. It was what was in my environment. You know, a bunch of knuckleheads. You want to do knuckleheaded things. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be. You can go certain routes. You know, growing up in South Central LA, you can go different routes, and I decided I wanted to go the route that had more risk to it. You know, I'm not gonna throw too much of my fucking past back there. Just enough out there though to give y'all something. And let's just say I hung out with a bunch of bald-headed Mexicans. And so yeah, you know, I made a couple of decisions. I ended up getting out of high school in 90. I went through a lot of shit in between, dude. Let's just say I moved around a lot due to family circumstances. I moved to Maryland about 3 times, just, you know, for like a year, for a school year, and then came back to LA and continue with my knuckleheadedness. And eventually at the age of 16, I think it was, my parents decided to move to El Salvador. And, you know, I was either going to stay here with my brother Doug or I was going to move, you know, somewhere else, you know, being that my parents were going over there. And there's a lot of in between there that I really can't get into. But anyways, what ended up happening was that I was too much of a fuck up for my brother to handle or my sister, too much of a burden for them. So, and, you know, no hate there, no love lost because, you know, they were young as well. They were trying to make their own families, you know. So my parents, they didn't want to take me over there, but I was too much. bit of a fucking wild child, I guess you could say. Too much of a knucklehead, too much of a dumbass. So they ended up moving me to El Salvador. So at the age of 16, in January of January of '94, I ended up moving out there, and I lived out there for the whole year of 1994. And I tell you, that's where I really experienced what poverty really was, and it opened up my mind to seeing, what poor is. You know what I'm saying? Because I always thought, I grew up poor. I grew up poor, and not till I got there did I see what really poor meant. When you got kids that don't have shoes, and that's how they go to school. They got they got enough money to buy the uniform, but not enough money to afford the shoes. So, they'll go in the uniform, but they don't have money for shoes, so they're going, barefoot to school. Or, they live literally in four walls and a roof, and that's poverty. They live out in the fucking what they call canton, which is fucking it's like a more rural area than the ruralness that we're already in, outside of the town in the outskirts. And these cats live, literally four walls, a roof, and an outhouse. You know what I'm saying? And they live off of the fucking food that they plant and grow. But anyway, so I went out there, and what ended up happening? I got into some trouble out there again, being a knucklehead, doing dumb shit. So I ended up getting back to the States because my parents figured if he's going to be a fuck up, let him be a fuck up in his own country. So in December of '95, I flew back to LA, and December '94, I flew back to LA, and just shit got worse from there. You know what I mean? I went into Job Corps. I attended Job Corps, did that for almost about a year and a half. Got a trade out of it, though. I did get a trade. I learned how to do solar installation, solar panels with solar water heating and plumbing, which I wish I would have kept on going with. But my dumb ass was, again, I was a teenager. I was 17 years old, 18 years old, not giving a fuck, and just doing knuckleheaded shit. Well, when that happened, I ended up finishing fucking Job Corps like a dumbass, followed a fucking broad to Ohio. Long story short, got dumped, ended up on my own in Ohio, dude, for a couple of months. And then I went to move to Maryland with a sister who lived out there. And then that didn't work out too well. So I went to live with a brother who lived out there in Virginia. So I lived in Manassas for a bit. And I thank my brother and my sisters and everybody who helped me out through that process, because, I was 18 years old, 19, with no fucking clue of what the hell I was doing. My whole military dream went away, and I'll tell you why. Eventually, I never finished high school. In Job Corps, I did get my GED. I did get my good enough diploma while I was in Job Corps. But I failed myself because I was too busy trying to do something that I thought was fucking fun, and like I said, hanging around with the wrong crowd. I guess I'll put it to you like this: ever since I was a kid, I wanted to belong to something bigger than myself. You know what I mean? I felt like I wanted to belong, and I wanted to be a part of something more than myself. And I always veered towards that grouping that didn't do the things the legal way, I guess you can say. But anyway, so what ended up happening, I moved back to LA in 90 shit. This was 95 after Job Corps, 96. So 96, in April of 97, I caught a case. And because of that case, I ended up catching a felony. So that was in 97, April of 97. Shit went down, whatever. And because of that, I was unable to join the military because I caught a felony. You know what I'm saying? So that was that. And it fucked me over. And and that plus I had some tattoos as well that were disqualifying type. But yeah, I ended up just gonna future forward a little bit. I did that shit, caught the case, and then in '99, I went to become a dental assistant. I decided to become a dental assistant. That all happened by fucking accident because one of my homeboys, um, he wanted to go do the dental assisting course, but it happened to be in Huntington Park, HP, which is not the friendliest towards the group that I hung out with. So I told him, look, man, I'll go with you for that first week because they won't charge me if I drop. And then, and just to make sure everything goes smooth with you, man. He's like, cool. So we started school together, and he ended up dropping out that first week, and I caught the bug, man. I enjoyed it, and I ended up graduating fucking as a dental assistant. Got my X-ray tech license and all that shit, and I was doing that while working, mind you. Okay, so I would go from school from 8:30 in the morning to 1. And then from there, I would go home on the bus. I didn't have a car. I would take the RTD, the rough, tough, and dangerous, or now it's called the MTA. But I would take the RTD back home, change up into my fucking work uniform for the grocery store. I worked at a grocery store as a grocery clerk, and to go make my $6 an hour or $5.75 an hour at the time. And I did that from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. and then come back home on the bus once again and try to study for my dental assisting school. So I did that for about 6 to 8 months, I think it was. I ended up graduating, did good in that shit, did my externship, and everything was going smooth, man. I was still hanging around with the knuckleheads, and I still wanted it to do better for myself. But in the environment that I was in, it wasn't going to happen. So in 2000, I did the working as a dancer from 2000 there in LA. Then I moved to Vegas. I was trying to escape the LA environment. And in 2001, in February, I told my mom, I need to get the fuck out of LA. Because if not, I feel I might end up dead or in prison or, hospitalized. So she was like, well, what do you want to do? So the sister that I had living in Maryland moved to Miami. So I moved to Miami naturally because anything else, my brother lived in Washington, but it's just like being in LA. So I figured 3,000 miles away, whole different culture, whole different environment. It's got to be a whole different fucking, a whole new me. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up moving out there, dude. And I moved to Miami in 2001. And then I started working as a dental assistant. I was making $10 an hour. And that was in 2001, which it wasn't great money, but it was money. You know what I'm saying? And by that time, I was married already with my first wife, no kids. And, I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment out in North Miami. Anyway, September 11th came. And of course, shit changed, right? So they started needing bodies. And I still had that fucking felony and I couldn't do anything. So, anyways, in 2003, after the war had, after when the war in Iraq kicked off, they really started needing bodies. And one of my buddies that lived with me, not lived with me, but in the apartment complex, we had similar backgrounds, except he was from New York and I was from LA, but we had very, very similar backgrounds with the knucklehead and everything. And I explained to him, well, look, man, here's my situation. Do you think the recruiter will help me out? So he was like, hey, I don't know. Go talk to this recruiter. So in November of 2003, I went to go talk to the recruiter. And he told me, look, if you're willing to work with me, I can put you in. Go take the ASVAB. So I went, took the ASVAB, and being that I had a GED, I had to score over a 50. So luckily I scored a fucking 51. All right. I scored a 50 fucking one. And I had the Job Corps under me, which also helped. That ended up helping me out. And the felony that I had, being that I was nonviolent, they were able to fucking I didn't even get a waiver. All they did was what they called a packet review. But they told me after it took a year, by the way. It took a fucking year because I had to get shit covered up on my body that would have disqualified me from the military. So that was my way of showing the recruiter, look, I'm going to fucking do this. But and he completely helped me out, man. Completely helped me out. And the Marine Corps wouldn't even take a look at me. The Marine Corps, when I told them I had a GED, they were like, no, not at all. We don't want you. You got to go to college for a semester. And I was like, man, fuck that. I want to be a fucking tanker. That's all I want to fucking do is be a goddamn tanker. Well, anyways, so the Marine Corps, so I went to the Army recruiter. I still remember him. He should be retired by now. But I went to the ASVAB, did what I had to do, got my tattoos covered up, all that bullshit. And then they told me, hey, what do you want to do in the Army? So I told him, well, I want to blow shit up. All right. So he was like, well, I could bring you in as a dental assistant because that's what I was doing as a civilian. I told him, no, I don't want to do that. I want to be a tanker. My brother was a tanker in the Marine Corps. My other brother, I felt to say, my brother Ramiro, he was an infantryman in the Army. And then my brother Robert was a Marine, and he was a jet mechanic for the A6s or something like that back in the Marine Corps. But so I wanted to be a tanker because the stories that my brother Ed would tell me of the Gulf War were fucking playing in my mind, dude. He wasn't in the M1s. He was in the old Vietnam era tanks. And he was telling me about, the battle, how it was all dark because of the fucking oil fucking rigs that were the oil was all burning, so it was all dark like midnight at noon. And then when they got to Kuwait, he's telling me how they're all expecting an amphibious landing, and they caught them by surprise. Once the fucking mist started fucking going up, they just started launching on with the fucking tanks, dude. And he's telling me about the Cobra helicopters just fucking pounding away, and all this good shit. So my mind is just fucking blown, dude. So that's what I wanted to do. I told him I want to be a tanker. It was a civilian counterpart that was like a counselor. And he's like, dude, why don't you become a dental assistant? You could come in, I'll make you an E4. All you got to do is go, through 9 weeks of basic training, and then you'll go and learn the Army way of doing it. And I told him, no, I want to blow shit up. I want to be a tanker. And he's like, well, tanks are closed right now. So my buddy that had joined the Army, that because of him, I followed, he was a Calf Scout. So I was like, all right, well, I'll take Calf Scout. Let me get Calf Scout. And he's like, I don't have any openings for Calf Scout either. And he's like, look, man, I'm telling you, come in as a dental specialist and you'll do this. And I'm like, nah, man, I don't want to do that. And he's like, well, so what is it that you want to do? And I kept telling him, dude, I want to blow shit up. All right. So he's like, okay, well, let me see what I got. So he looks, and then he brings out the 13 series, which I don't know what the fuck that means. I'm a fucking civilian. I'm a 26-year-old that has no idea what's going on. And he tells me, well, look, there's 13 Sierra. I'm like, what the fuck is that? He's like, oh, it's survey, is this and that. And all I saw was guys with fucking the poles and looking through shit. I'm like, nah, I don't want that. And then he's like, well, how about this 13 Bravo? And I'm like, what's a 13 Bravo? Bro, the fucking infamous video. The video gets popped in. Next thing I know, the first fucking thing that they show is the goddamn Paladin. Now, for those that don't know what a Paladin is, it's the M109 Alpha 6. This motherfucker, all it is a howitzer on tracks. So basically, it looks like a goddamn tank. So what do I see in my civilian eyes? It's a fucking tank. Why did he lie to me and tell me there's no tanks? I'll take that. And he's like, okay, yeah, I'll get you in. I should have watched the rest of the fucking video. I should have, because all I saw was a fucking Paladin and it's shooting and motherfuckers, putting rounds in and shooting. I should have let it play so I could see what towed artillery was. I had no idea about this light artillery. All I knew was this big ass cannon on a track, and I thought I was going to do that, which I ended up doing. But anyways, And he was like, all right, I'll get you in with that. And I'll give you X amount for a bonus. And if you leave within the next 2 weeks, there's this bonus. So I said, sold, let's do it. So after, like I said, I did all that processing. This was now November of 2004. Now remember, I started the process in November 2003. November 2004, I'm in the process, and I was supposed to ship out November 19th. Well, my shit comes back with after the FBI fucking ran my fingerprints. And I told them, hey, I told you about this shit that happened back in 97, you know. And well, then there was another case that had popped up where I supposedly chased a lady with a shotgun and threatened to kill her. It was a DA reject. There was no proof, no evidence of any of that. So I went to court and it got thrown away. But being that I was detained, that shit was still logged in. So I had to call the LAPD in order to get that fucking paperwork to be sent. And then it was cleared up. And I shipped out November 23rd, 2004 to Fort Sill, Oklahoma for 1 station unit training. Now, let me tell y'all, folks, I was blinded. I didn't know what the fuck to expect. All right. So how can I put this? November 23rd, I get there and, you know, I get off in Lawton, Oklahoma. And there's a group of us, and we get on the fucking bus, I think it was, or maybe I don't remember what the fuck it was, but we go in there and they take us to some barracks and shit, and I think they gave us some sweats. I'm not even sure of that. I can't remember. All I remember was I was laying down, and I remember seeing fucking one of my buddies, Yakum, and Yakum, this motherfucker looked like a straight fucking hippie, yo. This fool had long ass hair. And the drill sergeant called him Sunshine because this motherfucker, you have to imagine like this long flowing fucking hair, dude, like a female. That motherfucker had like these beautiful fucking locks. That shit went away quick the next day. Me, on the other hand, I cut my hair, you know, really low, pretty much like with a 1. And then I thought that I could have a mustache so long as I trimmed up the sides. And so I had a big ass bushy mustache, man. All I remember, this motherfucking drill sergeant walks in there and he's like, you got 30 seconds to go take that shit off your fucking face. And he just starts counting. And I'm like looking through my little fucking, my hygiene bag, dude. And I find a fucking razor and I got no shaving cream because I never use shaving cream. I use soap. Anyways, so I fucking just start dry shaving my fucking face, dude. And he's just counting. And next time I'm just bleeding from all my fucking lip area. And I'm fucking scared shitless because, you know, this drill sergeant didn't he fucked around. It was a little short black dude. And anyways, very he fit the type up. He fit the mold of the drill sergeant. You know what I mean? But anyways, so I got back and he's like, okay, do we bed it down or whatnot? Next day we wake up, they take us outside and it was for Thanksgiving weekend. So they marched us over to the chow hall. We ate, but it wasn't bad. You know, there were drill sergeants, but it wasn't bad. And I'm like, dude, this is boot camp? This is basic training? This is too fucking easy. You know, I had no idea, you know, and so they divided us up and we spent a few days. We got our issue and all that shit, our uniforms. And we got our dog tags and also, you know, we're starting to feel like soldiers and shit or whatnot. Little did we know, or little did I know at least, that this is reception. This is not basic training. This is the 95th. So this is just your temporary holding area till you go across the tracks. So about 3 days later, they called us all outside and we lined up. Shit got real that day. Shit got fucking real. All I remember was they called our names out, and I just remember the drill sergeant Robinson? No, drill sergeant Robertson, E7. He's just walking, looking at me, and I'm like, oh fuck. Don't look him in the eyes. Don't look at him in the eye. I was just looking straight ahead. All I looked at was a little fucking crest on this drill sergeant hat. And I just stayed quiet, dude. And once they call all our names out, I think, then they just told us to go into the cattle cars. I remember rushing to the cattle cars, bro, and that's when shit went from this should be all right to what the fuck did I do? We're in the cattle cars, and there's this drill sergeant named Beato, and a very, very heavy fucking accent from Dominican Republic. And he's like, close your eyes, privates. Close your eyes and pray. Pray, privates. You're not gonna get no pussy anymore. You are the pussy. Privates, and you're about to get fucked. Dude, I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, bow your head, private. Don't open your eyes. Keep your eyes closed. I mean, he's just fucking, but he's saying it in a calm voice, not even trying to sound funny. Just, he sounded like he was about to put the work in. So we get out and we hit CIF. That was another fucking load of shenanigans right there. And yeah, dude, that was basic fucking training right there. And we got to Delta 122. Delta Battery 122, Drill Sergeant fucking Beato, Drill Sergeant fucking Cabrera. He came after fucking in December. Drill Sergeant Hernandez, Roberson, Drill Sergeant Williams. Good fucking times. Showmaker was the funniest though. That motherfucker was a goddamn Rolodex of ARs. That man knew every goddamn. All he kept saying was like, "That's sedition and mutiny." You know, fucking something about death, the death penalty, man. So that was that, man. And that was our whole OSET training. That's where I met my buddy Palfy. Let's see, there was Palfy, there was Yakum, McConan. That ended up going to fucking to Hood with me, and Rodriguez. I was just thinking about the good times. We had some other high speed dudes that went airborne. Harrison, Hayes, Pop. I wonder whatever happened to Pop. Last I heard, Pop went SF. But yeah, man, that was how I ended up in the military and becoming a 13 banger. So I ended up in Fort Hood. Great times there, you know. Made a lot of good friendships, and let's see what ended up happening, dude. Fort Hood, Texas. Got to 277, and immediately, you know, started hooking up with Holguin, Moya, and Clark, just, you know, different cats that you vibe with, you know what I'm saying? And you had your different cliques, of course, like in every other fucking unit. I got lucky that I got sent to a really good fucking chief, and that was Sergeant Taylor. But I had a shitty NCO named Roycroft. And that guy, he was a piece of shit. He took me to a car dealership because I needed a car. And little did I know he would get kickback for if I bought a car. I ended up buying a 2002 Mitsubishi Galant, and it was like $9,000. But at the end of the loan, I ended up paying $25,000. And according to Sergeant Roycroft, that was a good deal. He fucked me. He fucked me royally, dude. So thanks, Roycroft. You taught me what not to do and what not to be. Luckily, above him, though, between him was Sergeant Taylor, who was my chief, aka Tank, and then there was fucking PJ. PJ was cool as fuck. He was the gunner, real smooth character, but he didn't play no shit either. That motherfucker was cool as fuck, though. He would smoke your ass in a heartbeat. And we would go to the field, of course, because we're in field artillery. I mean, what do you expect? Then deployment time came. And I'll give you a bit of my deployment experience now. You know, once again, thank y'all for being here with me. I know it's just me, and I'm hoping I entertain y'all for a bit. But so when we first got there, that's where I became real tight with Cruz, real tight with fucking Moya, real tight with McConnell, real tight with Kowalczyk. And Kowalczyk most of all because we were in the same platoon, same gunter platoon. I was the lead gunner. He was a tail gunner. So we were the ones that if any shit happened, you know, it's pretty much the ones that can handle, like, could take care of business. So anyways, one day during fucking, during OP7 guard that was on top of a fucking mosque, it was me, Cruz, Revere. There was this dude named Revere out of 176. And we were doing, you know, the whole left seat, right seat bullshit where they teach us what to do and whatnot. Anyway, so we're up there on a fucking at OP7, and Kowalski came over to drop off the chow at us and shit. And Kowalski's a big fan of taking pictures. So he's taking pictures and shit. There's booms going off in the background. It's like early January. And just motherfuckers getting blown up or whatnot. Just hearing booms and booms and booms. Anyways, while we're up there, we're eating our chow. Kowalski's fucking taking pictures or whatnot. Suddenly we just hear one boom, just like boom. That sounded really fucking close. And I remember, like I said, damn, that shit sounded mighty. I didn't even finish the fucking sentence. And you just hear the dude, Revere jumped on top of me and Cruz. We dropped down to the fucking ground. That rocket flies right in front of our fucking OP, dude. Right in front of the fucking, I mean, holy shit, that shit was close. And Kowalski was like, holy shit. And all of us were like, what the fuck just happened? We call it up. And they had shot a fucking rocket over from where the river was over at us. But anyways, Kowalski picked up and like, I'm out of here. That motherfucker Chuck Deuces and took off walking. And me and Cruz were like, what the fuck? Cruz like, dude, that shit went right in front of my face. And we were talking about it like, we were like, oh, fuck, this shit is real. This shit is cool as fuck, man. And that's just the type of mentality that we had. We're fucking retards. What can you say? And it was cool because we didn't get hit with it, obviously. But a few days later was when reality came it slapped me in the fucking face. So during our right seat, left seat ride, we were heading up fucking to Camp Taji. We're gonna go up there on some kind of a mission. Normally I would have gone in the first vehicle because I was gonna be the lead gunner. But because I was going to be the lead gunner, they had me in the second vehicle. As we were traveling up Blue 2 and then hit Route Senators, we were about to go over the overpass. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Route Vernon, they said it was. Anyways, it was clear as day. I remember this shit. Their LT, their PL was like, hey, make sure you guys keep your fucking eyes open. It's fucking IED alley over here. And as we're going up, we didn't even pass that fucking overpass, not even fucking 300 meters. And boom, I heard the blast. And I looked back and I saw the third vehicle got hit. And I said, I started yelling IED, IED, IED and shit. And the third vehicle went and ended up in a ditch. We ended up turning around, pulling security. So there was some small arms fire that occurred. I remember the PL said, light them up. And lit them up, and then fucking I remember Sergeant Lopez. There was 3 Lopez's that day. There was myself, Private Lopez. Then there was I was PFC Lopez myself. There was Sergeant Lopez E5 and Staff Sergeant Lopez E6. And anyways, we were all in that same little area where this shit just happened. And anyways, I remember their Smoke Polonese was like, hey, go get the fucking litter. So as I turned around and go get the litter, that's when the second one went off. And I remember I was yelling for the medic. And dude, like I can vividly remember seeing their gunner. I don't remember if his name was Velasquez or Vasquez or one of those names, but he was the third gunner. And he was coming out holding his arm and he was bleeding. And I was almost like in a state of shock. And this is where your training kicks in. You know what I'm saying? And I remember putting the tourniquet on him. He was like, blood was gushing. And that stupid fucking tourniquet they gave us. Was the first time we were using the IFAC. I remember twisting, and the fucking little handle broke. And anyways, we ended up putting the fucking tourniquet on him. He ended up chilling out. I remember telling him, just relax, bro, relax. You're gonna be all right, man. And then I remember yelling, medic. And then the medic was coming, and that's when the secondary went off. And that took out Doc Walker. And that's when I remember I froze. I was like, what the fuck is going on here, dude? And the gunner, I think his name was Keys, in that third vehicle that I was in. He was like, oh no, the second vehicle that I was in. He was telling me, hey, relax. And so I gained my composure. I went to grab the litter. Unfortunately, the litter was broken. It was missing the handles. And I remember another medic came to help out Sergeant Lopez that was bleeding out. And he ended up dying right there on the side of the road. And eventually when I finally got a litter, smoke pot, and he was like, I don't need that shit no more. And he threw it away. And the PL started calling up the report. And that's when I remember him saying we had 2 KIA. I want to say he said 9 or 11 wounded. And it was a fucked up day, a really fucked up day. And you know, that set the tone for the rest of my deployment. As far as like, you know, these guys were short time. Like this was their last fucking mission, literally, and they were going home. You know. So, and this was my very first fucking mission coming out the goddamn wire. So it completely set the tone for the rest of the goddamn deployment. You know, I did not become complacent. You know, they say complacency kills, and that's a very good example because prior to going out on the mission, you know, I'm not going to say they were lollygagging, but it was, I guess, something so routine that it wasn't taken as serious. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not going to take away from their missions. I mean, it was tough out there in fucking Baghdad in 0506. And that was our first, at least in my unit, that was our first fucking entanglement with the fucking EFP. That's what ended up fucking them up. And so from that point on, you know, anything that looked out of fucking place on the road, I was stopping. I was fucking stopping. Fucking Holguin, man. Holguin was the second gunner because it was the gunners where it was me in the lead, Holguin behind me, then it was Diaz, then it was Kowalczyk. So it was us four. And Holguin, every fucking mission, hey Lopez, turn around. We had our Vic system, and he's like, hey Lopez, turn around. I'm like, what's up, man? I would turn around and go, you gonna blow up. This motherfucker, dude, every fucking time. And you know, but that was his way of, you know, keeping me on my toes, you know. And he always told, you know, he's the one that said it, and he said it best, like, you know, if you go out every mission expecting to get blown up, when it happens, you won't be surprised. So, you know, that's the mentality we had to keep. Every time we went out on that, out of that fucking, every time that I remember, every time I traversed my fucking my cupola to the 12 o'clock position, I was just ready to rock and roll, man. And let's fucking do it. Had that big ass fucking bow and arrow M16, my 240 ready to rock it, and fucking let's ride, baby. And I mean, Sergeant Juarez ended up being on my TC. That dude, I thank that he fucking placed so much trust in me, you know. Oh man, dude, I don't even know where the fuck I'm going with this. Whew, just thinking about that, I'm gonna need a fucking cigar afterwards. If y'all still listening to me, thanks, man. Thanks a lot. But yeah, man, fucking the rest of the deployment, you know, there was some shootings. You know, there was a V bid that went off. A lot of fucking times where I was nervous as fuck. There was one time where I had a PAX 13, and it's a thermal sight. And as we're cruising, I forgot to take the battery out, because if you don't take the battery out, it's going to drain it. And so we came up to this one fucking this one street. It was fucking dead. I'm talking about dead, dude. And there's this fucking rock that was like a cone-shaped rock, which kind of like what they were drilling into our heads was, you know, the EFPs. That's kind of what they looked like. So I'm trying to put my thermal sight on it, and I'm like, why the fuck isn't it working? Lo and behold, I left the bitch on, so it's not working. I didn't tell Sergeant Juarez this, and he's like, what do you see, Lopez? I'm like, I can't tell. And he's looking through his binos, and, you know, I'm looking for the little quarter-size goddamn beam. And I was like, I can't tell. So Moyer, our driver, old man Moyer, I'm sitting on top of the fucking cupola, man. We had a Cooper swing. I'm sitting on this bitch, got my M16, I'm looking at it, and I swear to God, my pucker effect went, ooh, dude, fucking he told Moyer to take it at an angle because we had that fucking rhino arm. And if it exploded, well, you know, it'll blow the fucking rhino arm off. Hopefully, unless they angle the goddamn unless they angle the fucking the arrays. All I know, bro, I'm telling you, I was holding on to my to the cupola like, oh fuck. And as I saw that the rhino arm, the box in the front with the glow plug, as I saw that it went forward and it didn't blow up, and we accelerated past it, I was like, okay, we're good. Dude, I felt this sense of fucking relief, bro. That one really scared the shit out of me. I mean, I thought that if anything, I was gonna fucking die right there. If that bitch would have blown up, we would have been done, Chief. But thankfully, there was no EFP in there. It was just happened to be a goddamn cone-shaped fucking brick cylinder thing that was next to a light pole, which was their TTP that they used to blow us up, you know. But luckily, hey, if it was, it was, and if it wasn't, thank God. And then there was a time, goddamn, the funniest shit that ever happened to me, okay, that I think is funny, and I'm sure that Sergeant Juarez remembers this. We had just gotten in country, man, and we're coming out of BIOP, headed back to the IZ on Route Irish, and as we're coming out, you know, I got my nods on. As I'm looking through my nods, I see out in the distance 2 lights, bro, 2 fucking lights coming at me, and I'm like, it's Sergeant J. I got a vehicle coming out at 12 o'clock. And he puts on his nod and he's like, oh, yeah, I see it. And so I'm like, can I light him up? And he's like, no, wait. So, you know, it's nighttime. It's fucking nighttime. You can't see a fucking thing out on Irish. And, you know, we turn off our lights. We put our high beams on and off on them so they could stop. But this shit keeps on coming. I point my M16 at him and I'm doing my hand signals like, stop. I put my selector switch from fucking safe to semi. I'm about to start popping this motherfucker. And then things got quiet for a second. And that's when I heard it. And then that's when I saw it. A turret. It was a fucking M1 tank. Because their lights were on, I was unable to see the outline of the fucking tank. And I'm sure that the crew in there must have been laughing their ass off when they saw my dumb ass with an M16 pointed at a fucking armored tank. What was I gonna do? Shoot at him to go pink? I mean, that was the dumbest shit. And I mean, me and Sergeant J laughed about it afterwards, but like, what the fuck was I? What do you do in that situation? You know what I'm saying? It was a fucking tank. I didn't know it was a tank. I thought it was a truck. You know, V-bits were fucking high at that time. So what can you do? Well, one thing you don't do is you don't bring an M16 to a tank battle. Thankfully, he didn't turn his turret or anything to me. I mean, but it was definitely a funny fucking situation, y'all. Anyways, I ended up fucking at Fort Hood. I went to Korea, did some time out there, met some great people. Soju was the shit. Then from there, did a year in Korea. They fucked me because I was supposed to go back to Fort Hood. Ended up going to Fort Stewart, Georgia. Met a lot of great people there. And you know, it was definitely an awesome experience. And I deployed to Mosul with them. And Mosul was the deployment that I didn't think I was going to come back from. I'll be dead honest. That one was, I thought that we're gonna fucking die, but not we, at least me. You know, I was a staff sergeant now, and I had Joes under me, and I ended up going to a platoon where, you know, didn't fuck around. You know, great NCOs there, Smoke Pounds, Sergeant Flores, Sergeant Brown, fucking Brim. No, Brim wasn't in our platoon. Brim was in the other platoon. So, anyways, but you know, we had a great fucking group, and we got rocked a few times, and but shit, I'll tell you what, I served with a great group of dudes out there, And we weren't always at the best of fucking friends, but you know what? We respected each other. And to this date, I have nothing but love for each one of the people I served with out there. Nothing but love. You know, Flo, fucking Brown, Pounds, Miller, even the Joes, man. I mean, it was great. Not just the deployment, even in garrison, because one of the things that we did, we used to fucking go at least once a week to go eat together and shit. And it just built that camaraderie, build us tighter. You know what I mean? And I miss that, you know. And when I came to the civilian world, I've been looking for that. You know, that goes back to the whole wanting to belong. You know what I mean? Having that sense of wanting to belong to something. So even when I was in my knuckleheaded days, I wanted to belong. You know, that's why I think the military was great for me, because I belonged to something that was bigger than me, you know, and the risk was there as well. So it was great. And it was awesome. It was fucking awesome. So I did the Mosul deployment with them. That was a different experience than it was the first time. I mean, the mission was kind of the same. We're just out on the road, but this time I got to do a little more foot patrolling. So that was pretty fucking badass. I'll tell you what, that fucking dismount crew that I had, I will not change them ever. Ellis, that motherfucker was the man. Singleton, another one. Even motherfucking Fumage. That's right, Fumage. Even you porno watching motherfucker. God damn. Oh man, good times. Then we come to Fort Carson. I ended up in Fort Carson, back to 277 FA, where it all started at. I started in 277 out of Fort Hood. I ended up in 277 out of Fort Carson. And there was a lot of changes that were going on through the military at this time. You know, the whole implementation of females coming into combat arms and whatnot. Don't ask, don't tell repealed. None of that shit ever fucking bothered me. I mean, I had Joes that were fucking, when I was in Korea, I had a Joe that was gay. We knew, we didn't care. Motherfucker could work. That's all I give a shit about. You can work, chief. Shit. One of the NCOs in 19 that was with me, everybody knew about his life and nobody gave a fuck. That motherfucker was cool as shit. Whatever motherfucker does after work on the weekend, if it doesn't affect the work, I don't give a fuck, you know? And unfortunately, nowadays, it's just become a social fucking experiment. But whatever. It is what it is. Let's see. What else occurred, man? What else can I talk to y'all about? Well, let's bring it back to fucking coming out to the civilian world. Coming out to the civilian sector, what ended up happening to me, I ended up getting med boarded, all right? So there was this one fucking, there was this one last 12 miler that we did. And I was done. Like, my body was fucking done with it. I had bitched about my back since 2007 about, you know, having issues with it. But I knew that came with the territory as well. You know, I'm not talking about just some fucking minor aches and pains. I'm talking about my back was fucking killing me. I got stuck in one position at one time where I couldn't even fucking move. I was bedridden and I just had to push through that shit. But eventually it came to the point where I just couldn't hold it. I couldn't suck it up no more. So I went to the doctor and I told him, look, I just need this shit fixed. You know, I don't want a profile. I don't want medication, because that's all they did was profile and meds. Fuck a profile. Fuck the meds. They're not doing shit. You know, and she's like, well, there's nothing else I can do for you. And like, there's got to be something, dude. There's got to be. Well, we could numb you up, but you'll get, or not numb, but they give you injections that pretty much numb you up. And then you got to get them like every fucking 3 months. But all that does is fucking, it just takes the pain away, but it doesn't fix anything. So eventually I'm just fucking myself up even more, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So that's when she gave me the option. Well, the only other thing we can do is just medically or med board you. So I'm like, well, what the fuck does that consist of? And then she told me. Then lo and behold, that began that process. And there's a lot of things I'm living out because, you know, there's just some things that are best left unsaid. I was seeing a shrink at the time as well because of the coconut. I ended up coming out of the military. They told me, hey, this is your last day in the Army. you know, so yeah, start getting ready to kick rocks. So I'm like, holy fuck, this shit's happening all of a sudden. January 31st, I left Fort Carson and moved here to San Antonio, Texas. And Linda had just gave birth to our third child, to Daniel. She didn't know that unbeknownst to her, I filled out a job application for her at Chase, at the Chase campus here in San Antonio. She ended up getting a call back. She got the job. And me, I ended up, filling out a few applications, USAA, Lackland, and guess what ended up fucking me, y'all? Guess what ended up fucking me? Because of that felony from 1997 that the Army was okay with me joining, I couldn't get a job out here in the civilian sector because they do background checks. And that popped up. So regardless that I did time in the military, that I spent 10 years in the Army, that I went deployed 3 times, twice to Iraq, once to Afghanistan, that didn't mean a lick of shit, because I might have done outstanding in the interview. I did great, but then came my background. Couldn't get a fucking job. Luckily, the company that I work for now, they let me explain to them what had occurred in 97 and the changes that have been made. And that's why I'm loyal to this company now, because they gave me the opportunity to show them, to prove myself. And I moved up pretty fucking quick there. And yeah, I love this place I work for. So shout out to where I work at. Anyways, so yeah, that ended up fucking happening. And it sucks because, you get out here and you're thinking, I didn't know that the world changed in the civilian side so fucking much in 10 years, because yeah, we still interact with shit out here in the world, but being in the military, you're your own subculture. You associate yourself with just the military people, even if we live in if there's a city right outside, Hinesville, Colorado Springs, Killeen, they're still military towns though, so it's just still military centric. But when you start going, I live in Military City, USA in San Antonio. This shit blew my fucking mind. I'm talking about when I first came to my job, I was like, what in the fuck? It's just the way people just carry themselves, just the demeanors, I can't explain it. I can't put a fucking word on it, man. But it's just different. And, you see the way you carry yourself with a certain standard and people don't. And then all of a sudden you start getting told that, oh, you're an ass kisser, or they tell you that. I heard, okay, this is what I heard, that because I dressed up a certain way, because I believe that business casual is, tie, shirt, slacks, and shoes. I believe that that's the fucking business casual. And so other people don't. They would be in just a polo and jeans and tennis shoes. That's not business casual to me. But anyways, apparently that's the new business casual. I don't know. But anyways, because I dressed that way, I was told that I think I'm better than them. It's not that I think I'm better than you. It's just that I was always taught that this is business casual and you dress for the job that you want, not the one that you have. You see what I'm saying? But because I did that, I was told that I was being, I was looked at like I was snobby, or that I was better than them, or that I had a chip on my shoulder, or because I was prior service military, which I didn't even fucking bring up. My fucking bosses do that shit. I hated it because I get embarrassed when they're like, oh, this is Danny Lopez, and he's prior service. I hate that, because again, they're like, thank you for your service and whatnot. And it kind of embarrasses me. It's difficult to explain, man. It's difficult to explain, but anywho, just coming out here, just trying to circulate, trying to talk with people. It was just, I found myself lonelier, than I found myself lonely. I found myself really lonely because even if I was in a crowd of people, that's the loneliest I ever felt. I would go to like, um, places where they would have like a poker night or they're having like a game night or something. And everybody's drinking and having a good time. And, I'm drinking, having a good time as well. And I realized how much I have nothing in common with these folks, and their family. And yet I really couldn't relate to them. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative about them or anything. They're great people. They always have been, but it's just I personally couldn't relate to them. So it was difficult, and there were times where some folks would, extend an olive branch and try to understand or even speak of, like in our terminology or in our ways, but it's just, I don't know, it didn't feel right to me. And even to this date, man, there's times where I could be within a group of people, and if they've never served, it's just I can't really have a conversation that I feel we can connect. It's just difficult to explain. If you're military, if you're prior service, if you've been, in those areas, y'all, I'm pretty sure y'all know what I'm talking about. But as like I told Marquez when he shot the shit with me that first time, I've never felt lonelier than when I've been around my family because it's just difficult. But yet, you know, since I've been doing this podcast thing and just shooting shit with folks, this has become like a therapy for me. And I've been loving it, man. And I love the feedback. I've had one guest tell me that, honestly, a lot of my guests that have been on here have given me positive feedback of their experiences on here. And, in one shape or another, they've enjoyed it or it's helped them in some way or another. You know what I mean? And even I've had listeners reach out to me telling me that they enjoy it because it's in a way you feel there's others out there that are going through the same shit you are and you ain't alone, man. And that's what I love about this. I don't know, y'all. I mean, I thank y'all for hearing me out for the last, I don't know how long it's been that I've been rambling for. And I just gave y'all a little bit of insight into my life. There's a little bit more, and I'll talk about that more here in October. Just to let y'all know, the midweek memo, it's more than likely gonna. I think it's gonna. I don't want to cancel it. It's just I don't. It's difficult for me to do something alone. You know what I mean? Like this that I'm doing here right now. You know, I hope y'all enjoy this, but it's just hard talking to myself, and I don't want to always be down. You know what I mean? So what I want the midweek memo, my thought process for the midweek memo was just a place to, shoot the shit for about half an hour and just give you something other than what's going on in the world. But like somebody stated earlier, told me very good friend, a brother told me, it sounded kind of like a verbal Facebook. And that's pretty much what I don't want it to turn into. You know what I mean? I want it to be a place where you can come out, hang out, and just fucking laugh for shit. And I'm not a comedian, unfortunately, so I can't make motherfuckers laugh that way. I'm not Bill Burr. I'm not Dave Chappelle. I'm just fucking Lopez. And yeah, man. Maybe I'll just keep going with the guests. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. I need y'all's feedback. I really need y'all's feedback in order to be able to fucking make this great. I love the shoot the shit episodes. And if you're a listener and I don't know you and you want to come and shoot the shit with me, man, come on down, man. Hit me up. Hit me up. I'd be more than happy to bring you on. Right now I'm looking at November. I have slots open in November and December. So please hit me up if you want to come on down. All right. And I think I'm gonna leave y'all with that, man. I don't know how long I've been rambling here, but I appreciate y'all listening to me. And hope I entertained y'all at least for a little bit. Rest in peace, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That's gonna fucking turn this goddamn shit show of a year into a bigger shit show than it already is. Let's see how it goes. I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and go smoke me a cigar. I got a Flor de Oliva Maduro, and I think I'm gonna go enjoy this one right now. So, anyways, shout out to all of y'all for listening. I appreciate y'all, man. Thanks for being here. Listen up to the midweek memo coming up this Tuesday night. It's gonna be me and Cruz. We'll be discussing some, topical issues that I've been reading about, and should be a good time all around, man. And make sure y'all listen to the Under the Net podcast with Sarah Juarez. That was my NCO from back in fucking in the deployment on the first one. It's a really great place to, just go ahead and listen to other people's stories, and you can relate to them. You know what I mean? And there's good teaching moments, good lessons learned. So make sure y'all check that one out too. And again, make sure you guys come on over to On the Gunline, and I'll see you here on the midweek memo. All right. With that said, y'all, thanks for being out here with me. Love, peace, and hair grease. Gunline out. Love y'all. Bye, motherfuckers.